Were you recently involved in an accident in Indiana and need your report fast? Well, stick with us, because today we are guiding you step by step through the process to secure this critical document effortlessly. Welcome to the Explainer.
Look, we know the aftermath of a crash is incredibly stressful. You've got a million things on your mind. So we're going to demystify all the state bureaucracy today. Whether you're totally new to navigating public records or you just need a quick refresher on the current online portals, this explainer is going to give you the exact, actionable steps you need to finally check this major task off your list.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover why you actually need your report. Then we'll break down exactly what an Indiana accident report is. After that, we'll walk through a step-by-step retrieval guide, look at some important costs and considerations, flag the common mistakes you'll want to avoid, and finally share some resources for additional help. Let's get right into it.
All right, Part 1, Introduction. Why you need your report.
To kick things off, why is this specific piece of paper so absolutely crucial? Well, bearing the official seal of the state of Indiana, this is a formal state record. It literally establishes the foundation of your entire claim. And most importantly, it dictates the preliminary fault assessments. This is a huge deal, because Indiana follows what's called modified comparative fault rules. Basically, if this report suggests you were more than 50% responsible for the crash, you might recover absolutely nothing from an insurance claim, zero. So, for your personal records, your insurance, and any legal processes, getting your hands on this document is step number 1.
Moving on to Section 2, Understanding Indiana Accident Reports, Defining the Document.
So, what exactly is an Indiana accident report? Under Indiana law, if an accident results in injury, death, or apparent property damage of at least $1,000 to $2,500, depending on the specific statute, the responding officer is legally required to investigate. And when they do, they have to fill out the Indiana officer's standard crash report. Once they finish it, they electronically submit this exact form directly to the state repository system, which is known as ARIES.
And you know what's truly staggering? The sheer volume of data they collect. This standard 3 to 4 page document contains over 200 distinct information fields. Over 200. It's not just a quick summary jotted down on a notepad, we're talking about a highly structured, data-dense file.
So what's actually packed into those 200-plus fields? The report includes all sorts of metadata, environmental factors, driver demographics, witness statements, diagrams of the scene, and of course those all-important preliminary fault assessments. It captures literally everything, from the weather and road conditions at that exact moment to precisely what the witnesses said right there at the scene. This makes it an absolute game changer for attorneys and insurance adjusters trying to reconstruct the incident systematically.
Which brings us to Section 3, Step-by-Step Retrieval Guide, how to actually get it.
Okay, so how do you actually get your hands on this data? For the vast majority of crashes investigated by the state police or major city departments, using the official Buy Crash portal is hands down the fastest method. Here is how you do it. Step 1, you have to wait for processing. Reports are not available the same day. They can take up to 10 days to hit the system. Step 2, once that time is up, head over to buycrash.com, which by the way is operated by LexisNexis. Step 3, select Indiana and punch in the date of the accident and your last name. And finally, Step 4, just pay the processing fee. It's typically $12, and you can instantly download your report. Boom, you're done.
Now, one quick aside here. A really crucial distinction to make is the terminology. Please, do not confuse a crash report with the general incident report. A crash report is that standardized, highly detailed state form for vehicle collisions we've been talking about, which usually costs $12 online. An incident report, on the other hand, is just a general, local police record for other types of matters. These are handled totally differently by public records divisions. Sometimes an incident report is just $5 by mail, or honestly even free depending on your local jurisdiction. Knowing exactly which document you're actually asking for is going to save you a ton of time and frustration.
All right, moving on to Section 4, Important Costs and Considerations, Navigating Local Jurisdictions.
So if you decide not to use the online portal, you really need to understand the costs and quirks of dealing with individual local jurisdictions. Just look at this table. It maps out the jurisdictional maze perfectly. You can see how prices and accepted payment methods just fluctuate wildly. For instance, the Indiana State Police and MPD in Indianapolis both use the $12 online buy crash system. But if you request an incident report by mail from MPD, it's just $5 via check or money order. Meanwhile, up at the Lake County Sheriff's Office, they charge $15 for an in-person crash report, and get this, they only accept cash or money orders. No personal checks allowed at all. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, why on earth do I have to pay for my own public records? Well, as you can see in these letters from the state of Indiana Public Access Counselor, these fees are totally legally permitted under the Access to Public Records Act, or APRA. But here's the catch. APRA has to balance your right to information with federal privacy laws, specifically the Driver's Privacy Protection Act, or DPPA. The DPPA strictly protects the personal data pulled directly from driver's licenses, like your home address. So the fees charged by the state or these third-party vendors, they reflect the direct cost of safely maintaining, filtering, and retrieving this really complex electronic data without violating federal privacy statutes.
Next up, Section 5. Common mistakes to avoid protecting your claim.
Okay, let's dive into the common pitfalls you absolutely must avoid when retrieving your documentation. First up, searching before that standard 10-day processing window is up. Remember, the officer actually has to finish their investigation and file it first. Second, mailing checks with the exact wrong amount. One of our sources noted that if your check is short by literally 4 cents for a per-page copy fee, a records division will routinely just reject it and spend 50 cents in postage just to mail your insufficient check right back to you. No way, right? Third, using unofficial scam websites. Always stick to buycrash.com or official city portals. Fourth, waiting too long and blowing past the 2-year statute of limitations for injury claims in Indiana. And finally, failing to verify the data for factual errors the very minute you receive it.
Now, what happens if you do spot an error? Say something is wrong regarding the vehicles, or the driver demographics, or even the officer's narrative. Well, don't panic, you aren't completely stuck. You can formally request a supplemental statement or a correction through the investigating agency to fix the official record. And let me tell you, it is absolutely vital to do this before the insurance adjusters lock in their liability decisions.
And finally, Section 6. Resources and additional help. Where to turn next.
If you need a bit more assistance, here's exactly where you should turn. Buycrash.com is your primary LexisNexis portal. That's your go-to. You can also check out the Indiana State Police Crash Reports website for some broader guidance. If you're in Indianapolis and you happen to lose your report number, it's super easy. Just dial 311 right from your cell phone to reach the IMPD Citizen Service Office. And for more rural crashes, you'll want to reach out directly to the specific records division of the local county sheriff that responded to your scene. Also, keep in mind, if you're feeling totally overwhelmed by all of this, you really don't have to navigate it alone. Legal professionals, specifically qualified personal injury attorneys, they routinely obtain these reports as part of their standard case investigations. They know exactly how to access the correct databases, which saves you a massive administrative headache while they evaluate liability on your behalf.
So that brings us to the big question. Have you secured your Indiana crash report yet? And more importantly, what story does it tell about your accident? Ultimately, this single crucial document shapes the entire narrative of your claim. It contains over 200 data points that insurance companies are going to heavily scrutinize. So please, do not wait to secure your copy, understand exactly what it says, and verify its accuracy.
Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. We really hope this step-by-step guide has empowered you to easily retrieve your accident report. Now, before we go, please remember this important final disclaimer. This explainer is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. For legal assistance, please consult a qualified attorney. Take care out there and stay safe on the roads.